guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Nuella and I am a Toronto based YouTuber. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're an old subscriber, welcome back. Please, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe and turn on your post notification to be notified each time I post. Basically, I'm making this video to tell you guys how I relocated to Canada from Nigeria. So I relocated through the study route and I'm just going to tell you guys the process. I did everything myself, right? From the school application to visa application, like every single thing I did is myself, and my visa was approved in 1 month. So I'm just going to tell you guys the step-by-step process I took to come to Canada as a student. Okay, the first step is obviously looking for a school, applying for a school, choosing your program or like the course you want to take. So I applied to only one college and I don't know why I did that, but basically it's always recommended to like apply to 3 schools, right? I only applied to one school because I didn't want to pay another 90 Canadian dollars application fee. So if you don't know, any school you're applying to, you have to pay like an application fee. I applied to George Brown College and the program I applied for is interaction design. It's a technology program. I researched about programs in Canada and the best school in Canada to study interaction design, and I just concluded on George Brown College. George Brown College Interaction Design is actually a 3 years course, but if you're watching this video, I would advise you to, instead of a 3 years course, I would advise you to go for like a 2 years course, right? Guys, like I said, I only applied to one school, which is George Brown College, and I was actually skeptical and scared because I applied in May for the fall intake, so for the September intake, and I was actually scared that maybe I wouldn't get admission because it was already too late. I wasn't sure I would make it because if you know anything about Canada, for some weird reason, their visa processing time, it actually takes like a long time for them to process visas. So applying for a school in May, I was already skeptical, but I applied for the school and I got admission in 2 weeks. Like, I'm surprised. I was also scared because in like George Brown College website, they tell you that if you have like a 5 years study gap, they're not going to like accept you into their school. Guys, I don't have a 5 years study gap, but I just did not want to mention anything about me studying medicine. So I was scared that maybe if I put like, oh yeah, I've actually studied medicine, the visa officer is going to be like, okay, so if you've studied medicine, why exactly are you going to study interaction design, right? So all these things are the things I put into account. So that was why I never mentioned anything about medicine in this whole process. So even when I applied for schools are the same thing. They are going to be like, okay, you studied medicine, why exactly do you want to study this course? They will start like being skeptical. They will think maybe you're not a good fit for the course. That was why I actually did not include that I've gone to school. So what I did was that I just put only my WAEC. Okay, so now I've gotten admission, right? The admission part is out of the way. Now, when you get like your letter of acceptance, your letter of acceptance is going to like they are going to tell you to pay a part payment of your school fees. Now that was a huge problem because obviously I was in Nigeria and the financial market in Nigeria now is like crazy. I don't know if it's the financial market, but banks, you can't send money out of Nigeria like the normal way using the Western Union and the rest, but there's actually a way to pay your school fees. It's the Form A method, and guys, this method actually takes a very long time, and now I heard it's even worse. Now I heard it takes about 3 to 4 months, but when I wanted to do mine, they were telling me I have to wait about 2 to 3 months. My letter of acceptance came out June 15th, guys. I applied in May, it came out June 15th, and the deadline for me to pay like part payment of my school fees was June 30th. So exactly 2 weeks later, I went to the bank obviously, and they were like, they can't do the Form A for me in 2 weeks. Okay, so guys, in case you don't know what Form A is, Form A method is actually a method you use to pay your school fees from Nigeria to your school outside Nigeria using the bank rate. So instead of using the 750 black market rate, you're going to use the 460 or or 462 bank rate, so it's a lot cheaper than black market rate. It's just that it takes like lots of time, and you have to know someone, so you have to have connection to even be able to do it. If you don't have connection, you will not be able to do it. Nigeria is just like that, please. Anyways, I've just explained the Form A method. So I went to the bank and they were telling me that, oh, now it takes a long time, they can't do it in 2 weeks. I was like, Jesus Christ. And according to the school, they said if I don't pay it like in 2 weeks, they're going to like cancel the letter of acceptance. I'm like, I struggled to get admission. Why would you cancel it? Anyways, I just applied for my Form A, right? And when it was getting closer to the deadline of when I have to pay my part payment of school fees, I just emailed my admissions officer. I was like, hey, I'm in Nigeria. This is Nigeria. I can't pay the school fees in 2 weeks. Just extend it and like give me some time. And I was actually very surprised. He replied me like that same day. He was like, oh yeah, it's fine. I've extended like your letter of acceptance. Now, he extended this 2 weeks more and I still couldn't pay the school fees. I mean, it hasn't transferred. So I emailed him again 2 days before the new expiry, and then I was like, oh, please extend it more, and he extended it more, right? So I don't think that's an issue. If you feel like you can't meet up with the deadline, especially if you want to use Form A, just email your admissions officer. I'm sure they can be able to extend it. And after paying your school fees, you still have to log into your like student application portal to like accept your offer. So even if you pay without accepting your offer, is null and void. I paid and then I accepted my offer. Now guys, before this I didn't use IELTS, right? So I'm a Nigerian, and according to the website, Nigerian speakers, they are native speakers, native English speakers, so you actually don't need IELTS. So I didn't use IELTS exam to like get my admission. Now fast forward, we are now in August, right? Everything about the school application and getting admission is done. We are in August and I'm trying to go to school in September. So now I started researching for like my visa process and the rest, and that was when I realized, oh, I can't make it in September just because Canada take like a very long time to like process visas. I don't know why. And then I became overwhelmed and anxious because I wanted to apply for this visa once and get the visa once, because if you're denied your visa, to get an approval after a denial is very, very difficult. So August came, I went to Abuja, and when I was researching about my visa, I came across the NSE method of applying for a visa. So it's the Nigerian Student Express stream. According to IRCC, if you use this stream to apply for your visa, you're going to get your visa in 20 working days. So it's for the Nigerian students that want to get a study permit to come to Canada. Now, in this NSE stream, the requirement is an IELTS and upfront medicals. I had to write the IELTS, so that was why I went to Abuja and I wrote the IELTS. Guys, I read for IELTS in 1 week and I got a band score of 7.5. I'm surprised. I'm like, really? Guys, at the IELTS center, so the test center, you need to see the amount of people. People really want to jump back. Anyways, I wrote my exams and I also did my upfront medicals. Guys, I went for my upfront medicals at 10 a.m. Tell me why I wasn't done until almost 4:30 p.m. There were like a lot of people. Some people want to go to the UK, some people want to go to Australia, Canada. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Now, after doing my IELTS exam and my upfront medicals, it was time for me to apply for my visa, right? Anyways, the NSCE route, there's no particular way to actually apply through the NSCE route. So it's still the same way to apply, because I was confused about this, because I kept on hearing NSE route, NSE route, NSE route on Neraland, but I wasn't seeing like an option on the website to apply through the NSCE route. So it was just kind of confusing. Guys, if you're watching this and you want to apply through that way, it's still the same process, but just in your statement of purpose you have to specify that, oh, I want to use the faster NSCE route process. So yeah, just in case you're confused, it's still the same process, honestly. So now it's time to apply for my visa, right? I was overwhelmed. I didn't know what to prepare. I don't know what documents to submit, and I was very careful, guys, so that I wouldn't be denied like the visa, right? So it took me time, right? Because by August I have written the IELTS test. The IELTS test take like 13 days to come out, so that's 2 weeks. During these 2 weeks I said, okay, I'm going to apply for my visa. Guys, I didn't apply for visa in 2 weeks, so I started doing my visa stuffs August, but I only submitted my visa in October. I don't know how, but that just happened. I'm like, oh my god. Now that I'm thinking of it, I'm like, oh my god, it took so long, guys. Now let me tell you why this took long for me, guys. First of all, I was the only person doing my research. I was the only person helping myself, and because I've never done this before and I really wanted to get a positive reply, I had to take my time. So I had to know what they want, what is their requirement. And now I'll tell you straight up, the number one reason why people are denied study visa, the first reason is statement of account. So your bank statement, right? So if you don't have enough money in your bank account, they are going to deny your visa. And if you just put like a huge sum of money, maybe 2 weeks before you apply for your visa or 3 weeks, they are still going to deny it. Any money you actually want to use for your visa application process, so your bank statement, has to be in the account 6 months before you even apply for your visa. Yeah, it's that bad. And then the second reason that you don't have ties back home. So they need to see that, oh, after studying you return back to your country. Even if that's not the case for most people, you still have to prove that, oh, after my studies I'm not going to stay illegal in Canada, I'm still going to go back home. So you have to have like home ties. And then the third reason why you would get your visa is your statement of purpose. Guys, statement of purpose is actually very important, because in your statement of purpose you're like explaining why did you choose this course, why Canada, what do you intend to do after going back, like your financial sufficiency. So why do you think you can be able to pay your school fees, live in Canada, eat in Canada, survive in Canada? Like you have to explain all this in your statement of purpose. And yeah, in case if you guys want to see a video on like me reading my statement of purpose and like advising you guys on how to go about your statement of purpose, or the checks, or the most important things to put on your statement of purpose, please tell me. I'm going to make another video about like statement of purpose, because I feel like it's very important. Yeah, I feel like I've talked too much, but like moving on, I've told you guys the reasons why people are being denied visa. So now let's go back to my visa process, right? Okay, so now in August I started preparing for my visa application, the documents for my visa application. I started writing and rewriting my statement of purpose, because that statement of purpose is important, guys. So I wrote my statement of purpose for like 3 months. Honestly, I would write, I would go back and I would check and I would delete some things and I'll rewrite it, like I was writing it on Microsoft Word. So I was just writing, rewriting, adding some things. I don't think all those things is necessary, and honestly I think I was just being extra careful, because who writes statement of purpose for 3 months? Well, I did, but I don't think you should. That's why you need my statement of purpose video. Yeah, now I see. Anyways, comment if you want to see that. It took me 3 months to prepare my documents, gather all my documents. And yeah, guys, if you also want to see a video on all the list of documents I submitted to get a visa in 1 month, please also comment. I'll also make another video, because your documents are important, because they actually do like a background check. Like I said, I applied for visa in October. So what happened was that by August I realized, okay, I can't meet up with my school in fall, so the September intake, I had to defer my admission to January. Deferring your admission is basically telling the school that, okay, I can't make it in September, but I'll come in for the next semester intake, which for my school was January. So that school fees I paid in July, they shouldn't send it back to me. They should like shift it to January. You get? Yeah. So that was how I deferred my admission. And guys, once you just know you can't be able to make it, just defer your admission and on time, because if you don't, they are going to charge you for the first academic semester. semester. So they're just going to assume you're in Canada and you've started schooling, and they're going to charge you, and once they charge you, it's non-refundable. So just in case you see that okay, you can't make it, please defer your admission on time. Okay, so yeah, I deferred my admission and I gathered all my documents. So now fast forward to October 16th. October 16th was when I finally clicked the submit button for my visa. So it was when I submitted my visa application. I was in Abuja then, so the next week I just went for my biometrics. So I submitted my visa. Guys, visa is online, so you submit your visa, everything is submitted online. So I submitted it online on the IRCC portal. After submission, they are not even going to start anything until you do your biometrics. So your biometrics is your thumbprint, right? So the next week, because I was in Abuja, I decided to go do my biometrics because it's already October. I'm supposed to start school in January, and there was no time, honestly, because these people visa takes 4 months. So I went to do my biometrics October 18, and after that the wait started. 3 weeks passed. I'm like, wait, these people said 20 days. It's already past 20 days. I went back on Nigerian and like I started researching more, and apparently people in Nigerian said it's a scam, that they are just saying that on, not like it's a scam, but Canada just says lots of things without actually doing what they say. So basically they say 20 days, but they just don't do it in that 20 days, honestly, because it's not like there is a different way to apply. It's still the same way, so your papers is still going through the same process as people that did not follow the NSE routes. And also guys, there is like lots of backlog for these people's visa. So when I went to Nigerian and I saw all these things, I was like, oh my God, Jesus Christ. I just prayed to God and I told God, this is November, I need to be in Canada in January, but I want my visa to be out in 2022 so that I'll be sure I can travel in 2023 January, and I'll start booking my flight ticket and all of those things, right? So after reading those things on Nigerian, honestly, I was very demotivated. I was like, oh my God, what will I do now? All of those things. This was 3 weeks after I've applied for my visa. Now 1 month later, I think on the 29th of November, I don't know, I just slept and I woke up and I saw somewhere where they said you can actually send like web form. I think it's called web form, yeah. So I actually sent a web form. So basically what I said on the web form, I was like, hey visa officer, it's me. So I'm joking, but I just said my name is this. I applied for a study visa and I had the intention of applying through the NSE route. That was why I wrote my IELTS examination. I also did my upfront medical. Everything is on my visa page. You give them your number, your like visa number and the rest. It's been more than 20 days and I haven't heard back from you guys. This is November, almost December. I need to know if like my visa is denied or approved so that I can prepare myself, so that I would start searching for accommodation, because Canada is very cold and I want to find accommodation because it's cold. Guys, I was just using psychology. That's what I feel like I did. I didn't know at that point, but now I'm thinking about it. I think I used psychology. And then I also said at the end of everything, my dear, I said I know like I don't have a right to the visa, but I just wanted to know my fate, and that was the truth. I wanted to know my fate if I'm denied or approved, so I can move on with my life. So I wrote this November 29th. Guys, December 2nd. December 2nd, I was outside like at the market, and then I got an email, and the email was from IRCC. It was saying I should check my application progress. I was like, I was so scared, guys. I was just so anxious when I got the message, like the email, and I did not open it in the market too. If I was denied and I opened that thing in the market, I would just fall down there and start crying. So that was why I didn't open it in the market. I just went back home. When I went back home, guys, I still did not open it though. I prayed. Then I slept. Then I woke up again. Then I prayed. Then I went to check my IRCC website. Guys, immediately I opened my application. I just read my name, and then the next sentence I saw, your application has been approved. Guys, you need to see me. I started calling my friends. I started rejoicing. Even now, God, I'm so emotional. Even now, I don't even know. Guys, don't mind me. I can still like feel it. Like I was so happy. I was like, Jesus Christ, you did it. Thank you, Jesus. I was just so happy. I called my mom. Like I told everybody around me. I didn't even tell everybody I was applying for visa. But when I got the visa, I was just telling everybody that I got my visa. I was just so happy, guys. So yeah, one thing I'll say from this is if you want to send the web form, I think you should send the web form, because I sent the web form 29th of November and the 2nd of December they actually approved it. So it means they actually read their web form. If there is a tip I would give for like this whole process, my number one tip is you can do it yourself, guys. Just research online, because honestly I know people that used agents and they are still denied. Okay, so the agent is doing exactly what you yourself would have done, because I feel like nobody else can handle your application or be serious about your application than yourself. So use yourself. Even if you want to use an agent, make sure that like you are doing most of the things yourself. Honestly, you would get your visa. So the first tip is to do it yourself. Second tip I would say is if you're applying for the Canadian visa from Nigeria, please don't do your biometrics in Lagos. I did my biometrics and everything in Abuja. Everything I did it in Abuja, guys, because Lagos is just something else. I feel like Lagos is crowded, overpopulated. So the amount of people that also want to apply for Canadian visas and the amount of people going for biometrics, medicals, there are a lot. If you do your biometrics in Abuja, it's actually faster, especially when it's time to like submit your passport for the visa stamp. I heard that people in Lagos, it takes them like 1 month, sometimes 2 months before they even get their passport back. I'm not sure about that, please don't quote me on that, but I heard it takes like a month. But I got back my passport in 2 days from Abuja's VFS office. So I feel like another tip I'll give is do everything in Abuja, especially if you're trying to be fast, right? Maybe you're trying to meet up with the deadline of your school and stuff like that. Just do everything in Abuja, and also apply through the NSA route and send the web form, guys. I don't know if people still send web form now, but if there's an option for web form, please send the web form so that you get feedback on your like application. So yeah, those are my tips. Okay guys, so I feel like this video is going to be so long, so I'm just going to cut it here, and the rest of the video is going to come out next week. Just make sure you watch the part 2 when it comes out next week. The part 2 is also important, especially if you want to know how to finally leave, when you get your visa, how you get it and everything. So yeah, I feel like it's important. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.